As you all know, I grew up in Germany, and the actual Green Party of Germany came out of the anti-nuclear movement. The nuclear power, no thanks, was a sticker on every one of the Citroens the students drove. Right? It was the foundation for green policies. Also, around that time, in the 70s, we were talking about nuclear fusion. That was the wonder. We're still talking about it. Oh, yeah. It's not happening. Nuclear energy can be catastrophic. So I'd rather be on the safe side and be against it. Let's keep the status quo. Let's keep our power stations safe. That gives us time to move and transition into renewable energy. And let's face it, how long will it take to build a nuclear? I mean, I used to own a solar company, and under the wonderful liberal government in the province, it took 4 years to build a solar system. Can you imagine how many decades it takes to build a nuclear power station? It's wishy-washy. It's not going to happen. We will not approve more nuclear power. This is wishful thinking. Nuclear fusion doesn't exist. Renewable energy is the only solution for our planet. Yeah.
Our party policy, and I'm not quite sure where we are with that, so if the individual person who asked that question would leave your name and contact information, I can certainly get back to you on
that. I work for an advertising agency, and we had Ontario Power Generation as our client. We took a tour of one of the nuclear power plants. Hazmat suits, steel-toed boots, all of it, going in that little machine to make sure we hadn't taken too much radiation. And at one point in the tour, we were on this observation deck. We were looking over what was a swimming pool that was filled almost to the top with spent nuclear rods, high-level nuclear waste. And at the time, I said, so what happens? What happens when this pool is full? And she said, yeah, it's getting close, and we just opened up another pool. And I think they already had quite a number of pools at that point. And she said, but don't worry, scientists are working around the clock, all around the world, on a way to neutralize nuclear waste. We don't have to worry. And that was in 2006. To my knowledge, we don't have a way to neutralize nuclear waste, and it drives me out of my mind when people say it's emissions free, so let's just go to nuclear as a way of saving the planet from climate change. It's trading one environmental disaster for another. Just ask them in Japan. There is a special on Netflix, I heard today, called The Mind of Bill Gates, or Bill Gates' Mind.
Yes.
And yes, you've seen it? And
wave reactors.
Okay, in episode 3, there apparently he's invested billions of dollars to come up with a way to neutralize nuclear waste. Unless we have a way to contain it, not just manage it, but neutralize it, so it's not going to kill us. I say no to nuclear power, to more nuclear power.
So, okay, Chad Ransom, People's Party. I base my decision for nuclear power based on the limited technology that I find for renewable energy. Like we said, we all agreed that the battery surplus is not there right now. Renewable energy lasts about 25 years, and there's no study or nobody's doing anything about the lead, about the cadmium that can leach into the soil. The UN has said that about 90% of the world's electronic waste ends up into the dump. Right now, Canada does not have a recycling plant or a way to recycle solar panels. The only one that does, I believe, is China. It's China is the only one. But, good call.
Yeah.
Aluminum, the price of aluminum doesn't offset the price of labor to recycle one. You actually lose money if you recycle it, and it's faster to throw it right into the landfill. Yes, just like the people who are supporting nuclear, supporting renewable, waiting for that technology to come along, that technology is coming along as well with nuclear. I guess I haven't seen the Netflix that you guys have seen, but I'm very excited. I have been researching into watching nuclear reactors that are actually running off of toxic waste, allowing them to be totally recyclable.
So I can't say specifically what the Conservative Party position is on nuclear because I also don't know what their position is, and I'm happy to get back to the questioner. But nuclear energy does deliver, emissions-free, and it's going to drive Michelle crazy, but it does deliver emissions-free energy. And we have safe reactors that have been operating in Canada for a very long time. We do need to try and transition, of course, to more renewables. Renewables aren't always the answer, as we're hearing. I have family that have invested in renewables, and the batteries that you use from your solar cells, they can last as little as 5 to 7 years and cost an incredible amount of money to replace. So we're just not quite there with renewables. And in the interim, I think nuclear provides us with stable, emissions-free energy that's good for Canadians. And my friend keeps talking about Germany, and while I was listening to the CBC, I know, don't go crazy, a Conservative listening to the CBC, but I was listening to the CBC talk about what's the German experiment. They were very aggressively into renewables. They got themselves to 40% renewable energy in Germany, but they're not going to meet their carbon emissions because of all kinds of other problems with the implementation. So the rush to renewable might not be the answer. I think nuclear is a great in-between stage for Canada.
Sorry, we have a question back here.
Hello, I just want to say thank you for being here. Seeing you all talk and laugh and be able to be amicable really makes me feel very proud of being Canadian and really appreciate that we live in a true democracy. So I'm just going to say this question generally. We've been hearing a lot of human rights. We've been hearing a lot of, allies and women and all that. And then I'm of the person that believes that actions need to match the words. So you all have a leader that you're essentially representing and reporting to. How are you going to represent our interests when we've seen already a particular leader that in the way he reacts to strong women, that tries to protect him from doing something wrong? Not only does the method that he approaches women is that he harasses them, coerces them, and then ends up kicking them out of the party. So my question is, how are you going to how are you going to stand up for us in general? But I guess it would be more applicable to the two women here at the seat. How are you going to stand up for the residents here of Dufferin-Caledon, to your leaders, when there is already set a precedent that when to stand up to that leader or to a leader, you can potentially be kicked out of your job? If the question's not clear, I can repeat it. No, it's to the both of you, because you're both, both going to male leaders, right? So it's to everybody. Yeah, I mean, I could say it to everyone, but it's not applicable to the men, right?
It is applicable to the men too. The backbenchers.
And then we'll go down.
Okay, so that's fine. It can be applicable to all, but I'm not meant like from a women to women. It's speaking from a protected group.
Yes.
That's why I meant to the both.
Okay, so first I want to say that any cabinet minister can be kicked out of their job if they don't see eye to eye with the Prime Minister, if something goes wrong, whatever. It's not a gender thing. The fact that Justin Trudeau was the first Prime Minister ever to create and maintain gender equity in his cabinet was something that was huge for me. And when I wanted to run, knowing that I was going to have a small child, the fact that he was encouraging women candidates to run and offering a child care subsidy for women candidates who had small children so that we could run, that went a long way for me. I am a feminist from way back. I am a women's studies major at school, and I will always be strong and stand up for myself and stand up for women and women's rights. And when I take a look at the cabinet, when I take a look at the other candidates who are running in the Liberal Party, we were at a candidates college in July, there were a lot of women there and strong women there. And we're all there because we believe in the policies that we're putting forward, and we believe that we're going to have a voice in that government. Jody Wilson-Rainbow wasn't there.
Thanks. That's time.
Let's be respectful.
No, that's another question, but yeah, I mean, obviously, they had, I think, a personality clash and they had a professional clash. That doesn't mean that Justin Trudeau is against all women. I mean, quite the opposite. He still maintains gender equity on the cabinet, and he's the only prime minister who has ever done so.
So the NDP stands up for,
Sorry about that.
the NDP stands up for human rights. And I would hope, the NDP's position is to stand up for human rights, women's rights. I hope that I would have the strength and the fortitude to say what is right. And if I see something that is not right in the party and I approach whomever it is that I'm supposed to approach, I hope I do have the strength and fortitude to be able to stand up and to help to direct those in power in the right direction. I don't know if I've answered your question.
You have, thank you.
Yeah. If you want to.
Chad Ransom, People's Party.
It's working. There we go. It's working. So, hi guys. So to answer your question, ma'am, I got integrity. I was raised by a very strong woman. Right beside you, actually, is my mom. My mom immigrated here from Belfast. She had to fight her way to school and fight her way home every single day. I got a daughter, 2 daughters, and I got a granddaughter. No job's worth it for me. I've come, me and my family have battled through lower income, and we've brought ourselves up to the point where our integrity means everything to us. As long as I have my family, I don't need a job. Nobody's going to be disrespecting you, and I don't care if it's a leader of another party or my own leader. It's not called for and does not happen in this country.
Thank you.
Sure not.
Standing up is a critical aspect of being a member of Parliament. I know because I had to do it. In the last Parliament, I voted in favor of e-petitions. What it allows people to do is the House of Commons hosts a petition, and if 500,000 Canadians sign that petition, it triggers a debate in the House of Commons. The Conservative Party was absolutely 100% against that. And I was told, don't you dare vote for that particular piece of legislation. I said, yeah, too bad, I like it, I'm voting for it. And it passed by 1 vote. It's one of the things I'm quite proud of. I did have a conversation with the whip afterwards, which I will not explain. Look, the ability to stand up is going to be directly related and directly proportional to the strength of the member of Parliament. The Reform Act was passed to empower members of Parliament. It required 5 votes after an election in the first caucus. The Conservative Party had those 5 votes. I can't get into it because I'm already out of time. The Liberal Party caucus didn't even have those votes. They completely ignored the Reform Act. The Reform Act allows individual members of Parliament to take powers away from leadership. One of them is the caucus has to vote, and you have to have a majority of your caucus in that vote, and the majority has to vote to kick someone out. that takes away power from the leader's office. That did not take place in the Liberal Party when they kicked out Jane Philpott and when they kicked out Jody Wilson-Raybould. And that's the problem.
It gets scary. Absolutely. I have a suggestion which will get me elected. You put the referee on the Maple Leafs team. That's exactly what Justin Trudeau has done.
Yeah.
How can the Attorney General be part of the cabinet? Our system depends on 3 independent branches of government. Legislation, governing, which is the executive, and the judicial branch that has to be independent. This, and I truly believe that Justin Trudeau has no issues with women. I truly believe that he's a sincere man in this respect. But it was not because Jody Wilson-Raybould was a woman. It was because he asked a member of his cabinet something impossible that lacks understanding of basic democracy, and that to me